The Venus Garden is the name of a major redesign of a much earlier garden along the East Terrace of Windsor Castle. His Majesty the King has been closely involved in the project, and it's this new design which will be open to the public to come and see at Windsor for the first time. It's called the Venus Garden because the layout of the paths and the geometry of the perennial borders is inspired by the movement of the planet Venus over the night sky. For centuries, astronomers observed that from the perspective of the Earth, it appeared as though the translation of Venus seemed to describe a series of petal-like shapes surrounded by a circle. This exact shape is found throughout the natural world and is echoed in major buildings and structures built by different cultures. And this is at the heart of the King's philosophy of harmony, which connects us with the natural world. So the earlier history of this area where the garden now is dates back to the Middle Ages, when this east front of the castle simply had a dry defensive ditch with the hunting park beyond it. But it was Charles II in the 1670s who added a terrace on the east side and levelled the ground beyond to create a series of bowling greens. Charles II had a particular passion for lawn bowls and is often credited with having drawn up its first set of rules. So the first garden that was created here was by George IV back in the 1820s, and it was part of a major revolution that king brought to Windsor Castle, both inside and out. George IV wanted a private garden and also a focus for the view out of a new suite of rooms along the east front, which today we call the semi-state apartments. George IV's garden was almost certainly designed by the director of the Royal Gardens, W.T. Ayton, who later went on to become director of Kew Gardens. It included an orangery designed to house a series of orange trees that were sent as a gift from the King of France, Charles X. Unfortunately, the planting for this garden was mostly destroyed in 1837 when there was a particularly severe winter. 1837 was the year that Queen Victoria came to the throne, and it was her husband, Prince Albert, who was particularly involved in redesigning a new garden, and he even took part in the planting himself. The garden was first opened to the public by King William IV, but it was Queen Victoria who let the public in to see it at the weekends. During the Second World War, the garden was mostly dug up in order to plant vegetables, very much in response to the government's Dig for Victory campaign. And of the plots, there were two specifically set aside for the young princesses Elizabeth and Margaret in order to grow their vegetables. In 1971, Prince Philip redesigned the garden yet again, and he created a traditional English rose gardens with a series of flower beds around a central fountain. In its long history, the garden has been both private and public. The King's vision for this garden is that it embodies his passion for sustainability and biodiversity. He's been directly involved in decisions about the planting, and is something that he's keen to share, leaving a legacy for future generations to enjoy.